Welcome to the longest running show on earth. Let's do this. Sunday night. Christmas time is coming. Did you get your presents? Did you get your tree up? And get the lights out, wrap them around, yeah. Plug them into the wall. Yeah, you're staring from all angles, wondering when the ornament's gonna fall. See, them trees that die in the moment you cut them down, then you put them up, and you sit there, you're looking at them, you're waiting for Santa Claus to come. Santa's on the run. Santa's on the run. Mrs. Claus, she's getting his trousers ready for the night. Yeah, he's taking flight. Got the reindeers on the front and come along for the ride. Yeah, got 1 billion plus homes to hit in about 6 hours. I gotta get my coffee filled. I'm gonna get myself a thermos, gonna throw it in the back too, and maybe I won't get tired. I know it's one night. Santa's on the run. Oh, Santa's on the run. Santa's on the run. Santa's on the run. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Santa's on the run. Yeah, 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 yeah. Santa's on the run. Santa's on the run. Yeah. Get the job done. Yeah. Running out of time. Got lots of homes to get to. Gotta eat them cookies to get down the chimney. And you see there's a little boy peeking from the top of the stairs. And I got to go back up. I told him the kid, he's gotta be asleep. And he's not, he gets cold, leaving it at the bottom of it. Oh, well, maybe his parents will make it right, 'cause he's messing up my night. I got a schedule to keep. Yeah, I can't stop missing it 'cause of a little kid. Santa's on the run, 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 run. Santa's on the run, 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 run. Santa's on the run, 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 yeah. Take over ground, yeah. We need to be miles an hour if we want to take flight. I know we got a long night ahead of us. Oh, I'm afraid, my friends, my caribou, we're on until it ends. Santa's on the run, 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 Rudolph, run, run, Rudolph, yeah. Santa's on the run. Oh, Santa's on the run. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Santa's on the run, run, Rudolph. Run, run, Rudolph. Santa's on the run. Santa's on the run, Santa's on the run, Santa's on the going back to the sleigh, gonna eat it all night, you see. Going to the next house, I'm going scrum-diddly-duncious. I got my milk, I got my zippin', I'm going down, I'm gonna sip it, going down to the bottom of the chimney. Gotta bring the kids with me. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what we do, the hip-hopping and hip-chopping and going rock, rockin' and roll. Yeah, that's a doing every night, yo. And that's a doing every day, cause you know that Santa Claus, yeah. Oh, Santa's on the run, 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 run. Santa's on the run, Santa's on the run, 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 Rudolph, run, run, Rudolph, yeah. Oh, Santa's on the run, 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 Santa's on the run, 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 Rudolph, run, run, Rudolph, whoa. Santa's on the run. Santa's on the run, run, Rudolph. Santa's on the run, yeah. It's Sunday. It's Mark Pires. I was walking and it's the longest running show on earth, and we're here for the 1,448th day in a row live. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you had another great weekend, and we're going to get together for just a few minutes here and talk about, I guess, the craziness of the World Cup. Lionel Messi, first time ever winning the World Cup, I believe. And, you know, he's basically considered one of the greatest of all time. And this was his final years, his swan song. He said he's not going to be in any more World Cups, so this was his last chance. And he won. And, you know, I didn't get a chance to see it. I'm a real estate agent. I was working all day. And so I had a chance this evening. When I saw my brother-in-law, I said, what happened with the game? He goes, just 3-3. My son's telling me, he's like, it was 3-3, and then it went to penalties. And I missed it. I missed probably the greatest game in history. You know, for me at least, I would have really enjoyed that because apparently they came back, France came back and tied it up 3-3, and then it went into overtime. And Messi got his first win in the FIFA World Cup, and it's his last appearance. So that's just kind of, to me, I said, the moment I heard that, I said, he's got to retire. I said, that's how you go. You go out on top. I said, that's what Brady should have done. He should have stayed retired. You guys missed it, but we did Back to the Future, Mark, which is one of the comedy shows we have here on the platform. If you guys haven't followed here on YouTube or on TikTok yet, please do. This is the longest running show on earth. 1,448 days in a row, and within that time, we've done a lot of crazy stuff. One of them is I'm a time traveler from the year 2769. My name is Future Mark, and I've been everybody you've ever known in the past. Abraham Mark Lincoln, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci. You know, I did it. Mark Stradamus, you know, I could see the future. And we did it all here. But when I was, you know, Back to the Future Mark, telling you about Tom Brady, the question came in from the family. They said, how many Super Bowls does Tom Brady win? I said, he wins 33, you know? And there's a time where the world gets a little sidetracked, thinking that he may be a god, you know, because he just keeps balls, you know? And YouTube. Thank you, YouTube, for disconnecting me. You know, when you're live is the longest running show on earth and they never let people know it, that's interesting, right? When you're trying to bring the world together and they just want to, keep the world from a show that brings people together. That's interesting, right? I went to my platform right before the show just to, I clicked subscriptions just to go and see where I am. I usually do that because when people are live or they're about to go live, they show up at the top of the subscription page. But every time I go live, or this is for 4 years in a row every day, guys, I click on subscriptions and I got to scroll all the way to the freaking bottom. Today, I was the very last video was my live coming up soon. Oh, thanks. Thanks, YouTube. It was 10,500 subscribers and nobody ever knows I'm live and nobody could ever find the show when I've been live every day for 1,448 days in a row. And YouTube, I just have to say, you freaking blow. There's somebody out there who just has it out for me because I did the Donald Trump show. I'm sorry I do a trumpet impression. I'm with a big league. I'm here at the Oval. I'm back in there with Melania, Oh, see, don't say my full name here. You'll get banned. Oh, Cog, my friend. Isn't it sad? Cog, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. When, it's crazy. Guys over here on YouTube, Cog is over here on TikTok. And he's saying, the banning thing is crazy on TikTok. And, I have to say, there's stuff that they've pulled of mine. And I'm like, I'm literally reading that story over my shoulder. Like, how are you pulling? It's a story in, BBC News or whatever. Like, that is just getting a little too crazy. What I do here on TikTok is to bring people over to the YouTube channel. I'm basically doing news stories. I'm trying to keep it neutral so we could create some conversation. But then, of course, on top of that, I'm trying to inspire you to find the greatest version of yourself. And that's what I've been doing here every day for 4 years. And to me, this is how I elevate to the greatest version of myself, is by coming out here and living in the moment without a script and creating some music on the guitar, some piece of comedy, whatever. But the thing, or even this, everything is the moment taking place. And we're so just distracted by the lies of the world. And the intention of that is to get us to lose our moments. Daniel in the house. How are you, my friend? S-Coop. Bradley Smith doing it, here. Guys, Bradley Smith is like, I got to say, just as a little side note, S-Coop, Bradley Smith, you guys, the notes I get from S-Coop and from Bradley Smith, like totally inspire me to, to keep going. And, there's been many times over the 1448 that I've, considered quitting. Because when you show up every day and no one knows you're on and you're sitting there looking at 3 people or 5 people or 10 people, but you've been on putting out fire every day, it gets frustrating. It really does. And when you believe and you actually find out it's true that the world's against you, or at least the people who control the eyes, the people that control the eyes do not want them to find what we do here. And it's unfortunate because what we're doing here is fun. And it's the distraction we need. They have a distraction which keeps you in fear. I have the distraction that puts a smile on your face. And it tells you the most important thing about life, that this second is all that matters and all that exists. Everything else is a distraction. The past already took place. Tomorrow does not exist. You may not get it, but you do got this second right here. And if you could do that more often, find yourself back at center, back at your core. And you say to yourself, look, I know everything else around me is going to happen whether or not I'm here. But I'm not going to let it take me out of my opportunity to be happy. And it's tough. That's why I say, please shut off the negatube. Please shut off the negatube. Cog, thank you so much for the likes. You're awesome. It's so crazy. Cog said a few people have said, the name while they're on streaming and they get pulled. And it's like, and the weird thing is like, when you get to a point where they're pulling down your passion or just your opinions, I think that's a problem, because in 2022, we have to get back to what's a fair playing field where people speak. And if you're listening, you're like, I don't like this. You scroll and you just move on. You don't go and say, I'm going to cancel this person, and this person is dangerous to be heard by other people. That is obnoxious. That's obnoxious. You are not the arbiter of truth. And first of all, you don't know anything about truth if you're out there trying to pull people down, because truth is breath. Truth is allowing every single thing to take place. And then you can actually have a data point. If you're putting one point of view out there, what's truth? You got one point of view. There's all these others, but you can't hear them. Everybody knows they exist, but you can't hear them. That's not truth. That's not transparency. And they're living in this like weird world where they think everybody's stupid and nobody gets it. And in fact, not even that. They're like, who cares if anybody gets it? No one's willing to stand up and fight us. No one's going to stop us. We'll just keep doing it. And, you know, you start thinking about the moves that are made in Washington, and it's like, who are these people? They're clearly working for the lobbyists and not for the American people. You know, I said something yesterday. It's a clip over on TikTok, but, you know, they care about their families and their wallets, but not about the American family, the one family, the 360 million plus people here in this country. That's a family, and they don't care about it at all. And it's sad to see. You secure your borders so you know who's coming in. It's not racist. No, it's not. You want to know who's coming in so you could determine if the person who's trying to come across doesn't have something they shouldn't have, or maybe they're a terrorist and we don't want them in our country. But turning a blind eye and saying, well, it's racist. No, it's not racist. We're a country. That's has a meaning. My grandfather came over on a boat and he showed up at Ellis Island and he did it the right way. His name is on the wall. And the craziest thing about that, my grandmother was born in Massachusetts, Bedford, Massachusetts, New Bedford, Massachusetts. And my grandfather was born in Portugal. He lived in Portugal with his three brothers. He's one of four brothers. And they owned a lot of land. My grandfather had a ton of land in Portugal. And tungsten was very, very rich in the soil in Portugal. And if you guys know anything about, world politics in the past, Portugal used to be a communist country. So even though my grandfather owned a lot of land, he was like the sheriff of the town, and they had helpers, and everybody had a horse, that like in the family, they all like traveled on horses and stuff back then. They had an outhouse. There was no it was crazy. They lived in, my father explained once, he goes, it's crazy. In my lifetime, I had, no electricity, no plumbing, and we're, dealing with a freaking, you're pulling water out of a hole in the ground, and you got this well in the backyard and everything's made, you're growing everything. You got chickens and cows and all that crazy stuff. And then he's here now. He's just talking about television and computers and cell phones. He couldn't believe in his lifespan what's taken place. And again, not for everybody, because here in America, we had a lot of those things, but in Portugal, they didn't. My father, when he was 6, 7 years old, I think it was 6, my grandfather says, you know what? I want to give my kids a better opportunity. I want them to have an opportunity in America. America is the place for my children, for the future. And I'm going to give them their best chance at life. Even though we had a ton of land in Portugal, they would have lived a great life there. My grandfather said, that's not enough. I'm going to move here. He sold it all for nothing, basically. My grandmother went back first. She came here first because she was already an American citizen. She was born here. My grandfather, I guess, settled his affairs in Portugal. My grandmother's here, and she moved to Yonkers, New York. So she's getting set up here in America. He's back in Portugal. He jumps on the boat, comes here in order to join her. And when he got here, he did Ellis Island. His name's on the wall. And this man who had a ton in Portugal decided to sell it all, comes here. And then he starts with nothing. They bought, works his way up. He buys a multifamily. And there's a really cool story. So they move into this multifamily on Bell Place in Yonkers. And my father says, oh, there's all this furniture in the basement, like old furniture, And my grandmother, it's like the classic story. This is the second time this happens. She sees all this stuff. She's like, this furniture, why'd they leave this in my basement? She's this 4'10" Portuguese grandma. She was the greatest. And she took all that furniture and put it out on the front porch, for the garbage men to take away. But they went out like a couple hours later and it was all gone. All of it. So maybe like 2-3 years later, my father's at, like the American History Museum, And he's like, we had that chair. It's like, oh, we had, we had like a
a couple of those too. And they're like, everything, it was like Victorian furniture that my grandmother thought was garbage. She threw out all this like furniture that was worth a fortune. It's like, we would be rich. You know what I mean? Like, she just like kept it, you know? My father said one of the things was cause they used to be like a, I don't know if you call it a halfway house or a place people would stay when they came into the area, and politicians would stay there at this house on Bell Place. And so there was this ledger there with all these signatures of people who had stayed there. And I think there was some pretty powerful people that had stayed there over time. And I bet you their signatures would be worth a fortune too. All of that was thrown away. And then the other big one was my father had a collection of comic books. He had like all of the firsts, you know, Spider-Man, Hulk, you know, Batman. And he's like, yeah, one day your grandma, my mom, she just like threw it all away. She's like, this is garbage, you know. And it's like, it's all worth a freaking fortune, you know? But like, nobody knew any better. They threw out baseball cards. They threw out, you know, comic books. It's just the way it was. But the furniture thing really gets me. I'm like, yeah, the Victorian furniture? What are we doing here, you know? And the funniest thing is like, they put it out on the curb and it was gone immediately. Like, if someone, like, what the, you know, are you kidding me? Who threw that out? You know, my grandma, Portuguese lady, 4'10", didn't know what the hell she had, you know? And so anyway, they came here to America. They started with nothing in order to build this potential for their family. My grandfather winds up joining the Carpenters Union. And then after a period of time becomes the president of the Carpenters Union. And he was the only guy crazy enough to go on a ladder for the Yonkers Raceway, is a place in New York where you can go now and gamble. But it used to just be for horses, and you could gamble on horses, but that's all they had was horses. And you go to Yonkers Raceway, and in order to wash the windows in all of the, you know, skyboxes, it was a ladder that was tied to another ladder that was tied to another ladder. And the thing would literally go like this. Like you'd be literally like going straight up at one point. And my grandfather was the only person crazy enough to go up there and do that. I would never do that, but he'd do anything for his family in order to give them that opportunity. I respect that so much. And he's the epitome of the American dream, you know, come here and do whatever is possible, whatever is necessary for his family. And that's pretty amazing stuff. So the reality is this. Was it easy? No, it wasn't easy. There was a process involved. But we also needed to know who my grandfather was. He couldn't just freaking waltz in here and just be like, hey, I got a hammer. Where do I go? Like, clearly you can now. But back then, you do it the right way. And, you know, it was a lot harder to do what they're doing now. Like, they would actually, you'd be like, no, you're sorry, you're gone. You can't come in here illegally. There's no work for you. You don't have paperwork? I'm sorry. And you just can't get a job. So, I mean, I don't know if that's accurate. I think a lot of people came here illegally. But the point is, we need to know who's coming in. And I want people here. We need good people in this country. It's a fact. We just need to know who everybody is. And that's it. And this is simple stuff, you know? I really feel like everything is very simple. We just don't want it to be. I talked to somebody else the other day and we were both kind of trying to figure out the whole racism thing that's become the big thing again, you know, because when we were kids, it was squashed. When I'm talking about 20 years ago, guys, 20 years ago, squashed. Nobody freaking cared. I had friends of all colors and creeds. I didn't think about what they looked like. I thought about how they treated me. Like, I grew up in a generation where people cared how they were treated. They didn't care what the person across from them looked like. You guys, what I mean by you guys is the social media, these antagonizers. They're out there creating a narrative that doesn't exist. If you don't talk about it, it disappears. When you talk about it all the time, then people talk about it and then they're like, oh, it's everywhere. It's going to be there no matter what. You're going to find a piece of garbage out there that just doesn't get life. Can't change that. But to make it the main conversation like it's everywhere and it's systemic, it's mental. The only thing that's systemic is the evil and the hatred that they're trying to perpetuate upon us. That is systemic. That you can't even weed out of the system. Oh, we're going to stop the hate. Oh, yeah? They're going to amplify the hate. I find it interesting that the piece of content on TikTok that's gotten the most views was a controversial piece of content. Ooh. They don't amplify the positive stuff. They don't put any views on music that I put out or original rants that are passionate and can actually affect some change. They don't let anybody see that stuff. They only let people see the stuff that's like, oh, John Smith died today at 17 years old. What do you think happened? Leave a comment below. Like, that's the only friggin' crap that they're like, ooh, okay, let's put this out in front of people. That's going to create some controversy. And I'm like, man, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. I put out a couple really powerful pieces today, and that's just, there's like, honestly, I put out it's a 6-minute clip. I only put out 2 20-second pieces on TikTok. So I have to drop a ton on TikTok tomorrow from this rant yesterday. It's all up on YouTube. I put it out earlier. It's 6.5 minutes. Go and watch it. Please do. They don't freaking share my content on YouTube. I hate YouTube. I want to stop going live on YouTube. I really do. I want to find a platform that actually says, you know what? There's a guy live every day. Let's get some people here for that. Instead, we're dealing with a platform that says, he's live again. Let's put that friggin' feed at the bottom of everybody's subscription page. We don't want anybody to know he's live. God forbid we have a group of people here big enough to go out there and make a change in this world. God forbid. And that's the thing that I think bothers me most about the world we live in today. Why is the movie recording stopped? What the freak happened here? Card full. All right, thanks for coming out. Well, you know what? Then shut the freaking card off, dude. No? Oh, you're looking at the card I asked. Where's this stupid thing? All right. What? Can I put another card in? What the, man? Do I have to look at that garbage there? Is it still there? Yes, it's still there. I'm putting another card in. Hold on. This is what you have to deal with. When you've got a DSLR. Sometimes you're doing the DSLR and then, of course, the camera just decides to, stop recording. You're out of space, dude. Well, you know what? Thanks for that, YouTube, for everything. And by everything, I mean, I don't know, go pound sand. I need to learn the art of the click. Oh, the clickbait. Yeah, you're right. You know what? I do. I'm not good at creating titles that are like, ooh, let's go and see. Like, how can someone please help me come up with some titles that will get people here? Because I just want people here, and then we can get them to say, oh, great, we're doing something. We're actually doing something here. And I usually just take a title of what's going on that day. I'm like, Messi won. Still don't get people here when I say Messi won. There should be people here for Messi won. All right, we need to play one piece of music here. put the beat seat on here, we need to at least see the first drum for guitar players. You can go to beatseat.rocks and check this sucker out. It is a pretty ridiculous drum. You kick it while you play your guitar. Pretty simple. Beatseat.rocks.
walk along this road, this path that you have made. And the fall was settling, the wind began to rain. Reflecting thoughts of innocence, no reason to complain. So maybe things will open up, sleep in peace, the thoughts of me and you. And this love will guide us through the nights. Our hearts, love burns, deeper love and deeper love. My heart seems to grow when I'm with you. All my troubles seep down to my grave, repeating the same old song, same words. Come on, soothe my soul, I pray, love. Well, won't you take my hand and outline something new? And maybe things will open up, sleep in peace, the thoughts of me and you. And this love will guide us through the nights. Our hearts, love burns, deeper love, the wax burns. Oh man, I can't remember the words to my song. It's so crazy. This is a song I wrote in like 1999. I gotta find the words. It goes, and this time we'll sit alone. Candlelight, the wax drops drop, burn our love, it binds us down. Oh, the love, I can't remember how it goes, man. Crazy. Kills me that I don't know the lyrics to my own song. But you know what it is, guys? I don't play my own music anymore. Like, I just write live, and then I'm creating music in the moment. And I could just improvise something instead, but I don't want to. The lyrics are perfect for that song, and I can't find them right now. And so the fall was settling, the wind began to rain, reflecting thoughts of innocence, no reason to complain. And maybe things will open up, we'll sleep in peace, the thoughts of me and you. Oh, and this love will guide us through the nights. Our hearts, love burns our love, it binds us down. The wind blows wild chill when you're around. Love's the only word when I'm with you. Ooh, whoa, whoa. With you. The wind blows the wild chill when you're around. That's the line. That's what I was like, I can't. Something here on the, we gotta take something out here on the guitar. Bye.